It's time for a special episode of Happy Landings with your host, Jay Nowak.
Thank you so much now. So what I got here today is that, I'm not going to talk anymore about Monk Chipper. I feel like it's about time I stop thinking, but anyways. You've already heard me talking about the dartboard. You know, the one that goes, next player. And of course, that was one of the first ever moments in my life where it was so hilarious that I vowed to never let it go. And I've pretty much kept it. I've kept that commitment in the back of my head at the same time that I've been keeping that memory in the back of my head. But why don't I bring you on to something that's been a lot more recent. Something that took place 9 years later. It was a time where I was in high school, especially during my senior year of high school. I was 18 going on 19 at the time. And I had a teacher by the name of Brett Warner. And what Warner is most regarded for is the fact that there's been classes going down in the basement level of the building, which is also known by a different name. But of course, it's just a distant memory now. But what I do like to talk about Brett Warner at this moment is that, there were quite a few things going on throughout fall of 2017. It was a time pretty much where we were getting introduced to some new storylines left and right, and Warner had a lot going on at that moment. But nonetheless, there were some pretty awesome times that I got to know about, including one point in time back in October of 2017 where Warner explained how to properly create an actual resume, as in a resume that you can use to apply for a job. And whenever you have yourself an interview, of course, you'd want to have a copy of it with you if you are wanting to convince employers out there that you're a necessary asset to a company of any sort that you're planning on working for. But then, of course, there was a moment where someone ends up messing up really badly. And what Warner explained to us is that apparently this one person who couldn't get it right apparently wrote down, "Dear employer, this is my resume. I want you to hire me. Sincerely," the person's name. And of course, this just really freaks us out because no one in their right mind would ever have the decency to just simply turn away from all expectations and just simply create a resume that's total crap for the birds. But this, in fact, was just the outer core of that little moment. As we were starting to purge into the inner core and pretty much get to the point of what Warner was speaking of, it was quite amazing, actually. I've still not forgotten about it, and I hopefully never will. But anyways, Warner ends up telling us, "Wow, I want to bang my head on the toilet." And let me tell you, that was just so funny right there. I mean, I'm actually going to start freaking chuckling right now because of it. And I feel like I should carry on, though, to what happens a month later because it got even better. So, anyways, if you're not familiar with an app known as Slack, which happens to be a more business level sort of social media platform that people can go on, especially those who happen to have their own business or any sorts, in which they can talk to their employees or the like. And I'd say, when I first checked it out, it looked pretty awesome. I was considering about adding that to my current repertoire of social media platforms that Kaiju Force Neo is currently being enabled on or established on, but the problem with that was the constant notifications that were coming around. And of course, if you're not familiar with the knock brush sound effect, which is a trademark feature of the app itself, well then, get ready. This one's really going to make you go all ape doo-doo. So, anyways, what happens is that in November 2017, a month after the banging on the head on the toilet thing that Warner decides to bring up after reading a really bad resume, Slack sound effects start going off during class. And they were loud, actually. They were quite loud, and eventually, after a few of them ends up passing, Warner decides to turn the volume down. Or does that actually happen? I don't think it does, because when another one goes off, it ends up becoming slightly louder than the other ones, and I'm starting to crack up before I say it, because this is just amazing right now. What happens is that Warner simply goes, "I thought I turned it off," and then Warner just proceeds to do it exactly that. Tries to turn down the volume so that way the sound cannot be heard again. But again, the sound just goes off yet again. Yes, it just does that. Right in our faces. That's when Warner starts to lose control over patience and anger and threatens to throw a keyboard across the room. I mean, wow. Why? That is like, I don't even know. But okay. So that's just pretty much what that is. That's just a little thing about Warner that makes me laugh. But I guess that's pretty much not it, because it started going even after that. It carried on through to December of 2017 and even throughout most of 2018. Because let me tell you what, in December 2017, another little moment with Warner just yelling at a student over the production of a wooden walking cane. It basically just carries out with someone wanting to build a walking cane, and Warner ends up going in to intervene and pretty much shouts, "You're not building a walking cane." And I mean, that alone was kind of funny too. I mean, just the concept that a young student who's not even my age wants to build a walking cane that early. I guess it's good to stay prepared for what could happen to you later in life, but I guess it's a little too early. But then, I've got one more thing to share with you right there. Nothing much happened throughout January 2018, but in February, that was where one last pretty nice moment went on. Although I can tell you what, the Slack sound effect freak out and the toilet banging over a resume, those were both moments that I'm sure will last forever. But as for the walking cane dilemma, and for, well, what happened in February 2018, which was basically just a little confrontation about some sawdust having to be dumped out into a dumpster, and that just causes Warner to start cussing like crazy. So, that's just another little minor thing there, because, well, it's something that anybody can do. Anybody can get angry at others who aren't following directions or whatnot, but nevertheless, those were pretty much all moments of Brett Warner's career that I've witnessed throughout my high school years, and those are moments in my life that I surely will never forget, because that's the way it is. And so, my name is Jay Nowak. This has been Happy Landings, a podcast on YouTube that I'm hoping will not last forever, but for a time that can pretty much be said as having just some way to recuperate during a pandemic like this. NCOV is trailing on, more deaths are being added by the minute, but soon enough, we're going to find a way out of this. ASAP. Take care, everybody. I mean it.